Today, I want to share with you my technique for painting with light. And I am working in Lightroom, which I love because it's very easy to use. You get gratifying instant results, and you can continue to modify images just endlessly without ever destroying your original image. So I am now in I'm in my develop mode. If you go to the library, you'll see here I'm in a folder. I've got 6,000 images, and I can scan through them, just like this in the library. But to actually do the work that we want to do to the particular image, we must be in the develop mode. And over on this right hand panel is where we get to play with all the adjustments that we can do in Lightroom. And we can just simply slide the buttons and okay, now we're fixing the exposure on this shot. Now we're playing with contrast. And for this particular technique, I'm going to show you this little tool called the adjustment brush. And you click this button, and now you've got a whole nother panel of those same tools that we just played with, but they're specific to the brush. And it's going to be wherever you last left them, the sliders. And I was using this earlier to do the same technique, so my exposure is already maxed out. I've got contrast kind of in the middle. I don't want to blow these away too terribly for this specific technique. I'm going to go down to my brush. My size, I might make it a little bit smaller. I kind of like a large feathering because I like softness on the edges. My images are all very abstract. So there we go. We can adjust the flow, and the density of the mask, which is basically what you're doing. You're adding a mask on top of this image. So now I've got my brush and I've got my settings, and I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to swirl. I'm swirling. There you go. I was pushing down on the mouse button, and you don't see anything until you release the mouse button. But you see now that I was adding a layer of light, and you see how that's lighter wherever my brush swirled over. Now, the thing about the adjustment brush is you kind of have to accept those changes before you go back into the other menu. So you have to come down here and hit this done button. And it takes just a second to apply the effects that you selected. Now I'm back in the basic menu. Scroll up here so you can see the whole thing. And in this basic panel, I can go back and play again with that exposure. But when I do this time, as compared to the first time, now you can see the difference it makes on those layers of light that I added to my image. I think it makes it more interesting. And I can go, play with other things. Like a lot of times I like to take away the clarity so it looks more like a painting. And sometimes I take away the contrast, and that gives you more detail in these dark spots. I can play and edit the shadows. I can bring up the shadows. And to make it more luminous, this is a little trick here, this white button. and you're going to notice how specifically where I had the brush, that part is thinner, because the mask is telling it, let's expose this more. So you're going to notice that is where it looks like it's painting with light. And I think that's really beautiful. But I also think I didn't do enough. So and now that I've accepted those changes, it's like I'm starting again. I'm going to go back to that adjustment brush. This time, maybe I want to paint with some shadows. So instead of having it get lighter, I'm going to take this exposure all the way down. I like the dehaze function too, because it kind of, this time I'm going to bring up some clarity. So once again, it's the same idea, only we're going to go in with some darkness, and I'm going to bring that in. I think I want to bring that in kind of close to where my light swooshes were. And I can't really see these, but with my work, it really doesn't matter because it's all just for fun and experiment. So stroking, you can kind of see this looks like a wave now because I've come in and I've put that dark shadow underneath the light, and that's kind of the effect I want you to see so you can see the difference. All right, so once again, I'm going to say, okay, I'm done with adding in that dark brush stroke. Going back over to the basic menu, and let's play a little bit more with exposure. If I take that exposure down, now you can see some more of the contrast. Let's pick up the whites a little bit more. Let's see if we can increase the blacks. And so you see those waves? Those are the dark strokes. You see those appear now more strongly, even though the black is increasing on the entire image. So there you go. You've got a lot more depth going on now, which I kind of really like. Exposure, I might take that up just a touch. My shadows are already up. My whites are already up. Okay, so there is a sample. And if we want to go back and take a look at what it was before we started all this craziness, hit this previous button. Oh, there it is. Rather flat, dark image, right? Now, I want to take it back again. I've got to hit Control Z. I'm going to have to hit it twice because I hit the previous button twice. So, and if you hit the reset button, it clears everything that you just did. So that's why I did not hit that button, because I wanted to be able to go back and forth so you can see. And an easier way to do that, of course, would be to use this little button over here that shows you a side-by-side comparison. So you can see your before and your after. And I don't know, to me, it takes a flat image, and now you have the freedom to give it dimension and bring it to life. And that's your quick minute lesson for today. Painting with light. Go have some fun with Lightroom.